Grant Wilson's exit from Ghost Hunters in 2012 was never really about spending more time with family, no matter how often that explanation was repeated. Behind the scenes, the truth was far more unsettling. It involved network pressure to fabricate evidence, financial betrayal by his closest partner, a terrifying investigation that followed him home, a serious health crisis, and legal battles that nearly trapped him in a contract he couldn't escape. Subscribe now, because the real story includes pay inequality, staged paranormal moments, relentless pressure, the collapse of his marriage, and an investigation that almost destroyed him. For more than 13 years, the truth remained buried beneath non-disclosure agreements. The family time narrative was simply the only version he was allowed to share publicly. In October 2012, Grant Wilson made an announcement that sent shockwaves through the paranormal investigation community. Fans who had followed Ghost Hunters since its 2004 debut on Sci-Fi were stunned. Standing beside co-founder Jason Hawes, Grant delivered what appeared to be a carefully rehearsed joint statement. He explained that after 8 successful seasons, he was stepping away to focus on his highest priority, being present for his 3 young sons. On the surface, the explanation felt reasonable, even admirable. For nearly a decade, Grant had lived out of suitcases, traveling an estimated 200 to 250 days every year. He crisscrossed the country investigating everything from private homes to massive asylum complexes, historic hotels, and some of America's most infamous paranormal locations. That schedule meant missed birthdays, school performances, soccer games, parent-teacher meetings, and countless ordinary moments that shaped childhood. The official explanation didn't fully hold together. The first red flag was timing. Grant didn't announce his departure at the end of a season, when transitions are normally planned. Instead, he quit abruptly in the middle of filming, giving production only weeks' notice. The decision created immediate chaos, disrupted schedules, canceled investigations, and contractual obligations with locations that had been booked months in advance, expecting the full TAPS team. The second red flag appeared on screen. In the final episodes featuring Grant, filmed before his announcement, attentive viewers noticed a stark change. He spoke less. He avoided interaction with Jason unless necessary. His usual enthusiasm was gone, replaced by visible discomfort and emotional distance. Roughly 3 weeks before submitting his resignation, the TAPS team investigated an abandoned psychiatric hospital in central Massachusetts. The location has never been publicly identified, and according to people close to Grant, who later spoke confidentially, the footage was deemed too disturbing to ever air. The hospital had a dark history, documented abuse, unauthorized experiments, and multiple patient suicides before it was shut down in the 1990s. From the moment Grant entered the building, he reported overwhelming feelings of dread and a sense of being watched by something intensely hostile. During the night investigation, Grant was alone in a former isolation ward when he experienced what he later described privately as a demonic assault. He felt choking sensations, extreme cold localized around his body, and heard whispered threats spoken in languages he didn't recognize. Terrified, Grant demanded the investigation stop and insisted on leaving immediately. Producers and Jason pressured him to continue filming, but he refused. What made the incident far worse wasn't what happened inside the hospital. It was what followed him home. In the days and weeks afterward, Grant's family began experiencing disturbing activity. He woke up with unexplained scratches appearing overnight. His youngest son reported seeing shadow figures standing in doorways and at the foot of his bed. Grant suffered vivid nightmares of the hospital, as if something had attached itself to him and followed him back into his home. At the same time, tensions between Grant and Sci-Fi executives were escalating. Ghost Hunters had originally built its reputation on skepticism and scientific investigation, debunking most claims rather than sensationalizing them. That integrity set the show apart. But as ratings soared, the network pushed for more dramatic content. Producers demanded heightened conflict, emotional confrontations, and evidence that felt definitive, even when it wasn't. Grant resisted, warning that faking drama or overstating findings would destroy viewer trust. The breaking point came when executives proposed a staged argument between Grant and Jason for a season finale, a scripted fight designed purely for drama. Grant refused outright. He would not deceive viewers or manufacture conflict. The response from the network was chilling. He was warned that investigators unwilling to play the game could be replaced. Around the same time, Grant discovered something even more devastating. During a production meeting in early 2012, he accidentally saw financial documents detailing cast compensation. What he found stunned him. Jason Hawes was earning 3 to 4 times more than Grant. Jason had negotiated separate deals, executive producer credits, profit percentages, merchandise licensing, convention appearance fees, all hidden from Grant. For 8 years, Grant believed they were equal partners. The revelation felt like a profound betrayal. When Grant confronted Jason, he was told these were separate opportunities. To Grant, it felt like the foundation of their partnership had been quietly dismantled. Meanwhile, Grant's marriage was already collapsing. Years of absence, paranormal fallout at home, emotional exhaustion, and stress had taken their toll. His wife, who had essentially raised 3 children alone, reached her breaking point. Divorce followed shortly after his departure. Grant's health was also deteriorating. Years of exposure to mold, asbestos, and toxic environments had damaged his lungs. Chronic fatigue, immune dysfunction, anxiety attacks, and elevated cardiovascular risk forced doctors to warn him that continuing would end his life early. And inside TAPS, morale had fractured. Longtime team members felt sidelined. New hires were chosen for drama, not skill. Grant eventually discovered that some investigators were staging evidence under pressure from producers. When he reported it, Jason suggested they handle it quietly. That was the final straw. When Grant decided to leave, he learned he couldn't simply walk away. His contract contained automatic extensions that legally bound him to the show. Sci-Fi threatened multi-million-dollar lawsuits if he breached it. Grant walked away anyway. He lost money, friendships, and public support. But he regained his health, rebuilt his relationship with his sons, and preserved his integrity. When he returned to Ghost Hunters in 2019 on his own terms, the moment carried far more weight than any scripted drama ever could. Leaving was the hardest decision of his life, and the best one.